Poland calls up 35,000 people for a militia. Poland has about 12,000 paramilitary troops beginning next week through mid-July. These forces will be involved in NATO's Anaconda military drills, and large-scale drills will include 31,000 troops with tanks, aircraft, artillery, and missile defense systems. It has come from Sputnik, and everybody is worried that this is going to be something big. Everybody basically says U.S. and NATO is going into Russia. Now, I don't know. Well, I know why, because all they're basically going against the banks, and they're basically going to do to Russia what they did to Iraq and Syria and all the other countries, Afghanistan included, on the quote-unquote war on terror. Because Russia's the only big dog that says, fuck you, I will not comply. So they got to target them with their army, since they can't target them with their police. So this is actually a very big deal, folks, because there is, in fact, a militia which was called up. Sputnik's calling it a militia force. That's what I'm going to call it. These guys are basically running around with NATO under Anaconda mission training assignments and war games thereof. I know this looks like an all-female unit, but if you look, it looks like there's guys there too. It could just be a female picture, or mostly female picture. I don't really know. I'm just showing you what I can find. So this is a big deal, folks, and it looks like there might be some fun happening to Russia quite soon. One of the biggest deals with this, folks, is that basically part of the thing I didn't read from the quote I just gave you says, at the end of it, foreign policy analysts have warned that Moscow might view the drills as a prelude to Western invasion of Russian territory. Yes, there's a huge effing buildup of guys with guns on your border. If cops stood outside your home in 40 SWAT vehicles with guns, wouldn't you think they're coming in to come kick your ass and drag you off for probably half a decade, if not more? Yeah. It's the same fucking idea. Pardon my language. So this is what's really going on. So there's a lot here. Polish military plans to recruit civilian volunteers to form a National Guard-style paramilitary force aimed at preparing for a hybrid war with Russia. The Polish Defense Ministry said first batch of volunteers will be recruited in September. German news resource Spiegel Online also reported this as well, so I will include that. I don't know if it's in German or not. Yes, it is in German, or it's in Polish. I'm not sure which. Poland Stalali, yeah, I think it's in Polish. So this is what's really going on. NATO page volunteer 500 zlotys, about 125 euros a month, which is like nothing. And they'll undergo regular weekend training, and volunteers will be commanded professional soldiers. And this is what's really going on in the real world, folks. I mean, this is really what's going on. The Territorial Defense Force is our response to the threat associated with hybrid warfare, says Grzegorz Kwasniak, Defense Ministry official for the Polish people, or the Polish Defense Ministry. According to Spiegel, a large promotion of the volunteer corps will be concentrated around Warsaw, and in the east near Russia. Units will also be located near the German border. Specifically, each of Poland's 16 voivodeships, which is regions or provinces, will receive a full brigade of new troops, with Eastern voivodeship Maidzin Waiki receiving 2 brigades. I don't know what those 2 words mean. But according to this, there's a part on this on a special forces focus, or special focus will be paid to the easternmost, basically regions of Podlatsky or Poland, Lubansky, I think it's Lithuania maybe, I don't know what that is. Alright, you guys are going to have to read this because some of these words I don't even know and how to pronounce them, but basically Spiegel explains since these are concentrated particularly vulnerable to Russian presence, so basically they're going to hold them off like Stalingrad did, like Russia did Stalingrad, and they're going to deny them entry. Except for they're looking to be on the defensive when more than likely they're going to be used as cannon fodder to go on the offensive. But this is actually happening, folks. This is not an under any circumstances or presence a lie. Earlier this week, Polish Defense Minister Antoni Macierewicz suggested one of the rotating battalions of NATO troops deployed to Polish territory would be sufficient to halt the Russian invasion plans. No, it wouldn't. Russia wishes to bleed NATO through and through. They are not going to stop with a brigade. Or, I'm sorry, a battalion, my bad. Yeah, battalion's a little bit larger. I'd put probably 1,000 tanks and 5,000 men, regardless of the situation, right then and there. But then again, I would be pointing in the other direction, protecting Russia. At this point, I do believe Russia is the non-aggressor at this moment. And I don't think NATO has the balls to invade Russia. Because I don't think they do. So basically here it says, commenting on the National Guard-like initiative, Spiegel Online comment sections, German readers had their doubts on its logic. But basically someone said, can someone explain to me how they would understand the idea that Russia is putting pressure on Poland's eastern provinces when basically they're building up troops to look like an invasion? Well, that's exactly right. That's what NATO's doing because NATO works for the freaking banks. And Russia said no to the banks, and this is their reply. No to the banks leads to your country getting invaded. If you went off and killed all the Rothschild and Soros families and those higher up 5 or 10 families, I guarantee you, all this stuff would be dissolved tomorrow. But I'm not really suggesting the murder of those people. I am asking you to detain them and to have the law enforcement groups of those countries to put them in prison away from all their jurisdictions. But hey, that's what I would do. All right, so this is what's really going on, folks. This is no more conspiracy theory. This is no more anything. Poland has now basically recruited a 35,000 person volunteer quote-unquote militia to match force with Russia and aid in NATO war games, NATO training for the aggression against Russia, and somehow or another Russia is at fault with the aggression when it looks like they're and NATO, along with Poland, etc., US, etc., are building an army to invade Russia.